Now, there are very few things in life I can stand here and honestly say that, I'm remotely an expert at. You know what I'm saying? Like things that I truly would know about that you may not. And one of those things in life is water, right? For instance, do you know how your water gets to your house every day? Do you know like what they do to it after they pull it out of the ground or out of the river or out of the creek or out of the lake or out of the dam? Well, there's a process with this, right? What they do is they take the water and they pump it in, right? And once they pump it in, they fill it with these chemicals, right, which are called coagulants. And what these coagulants do is they get a whole bunch of the sediment and they make it all, kind of like settle down to the bottom, right? Or they pump it up to the top, one or the other, and either aerated or they, have the sediment go down to the bottom. After this, they run it through like sand or gravel, right? And this filters out the finer particulates, okay? And then what they do is they stand here and they put fucking chlorine in your water, and then they take it and they hit it with ammonia to kill the smell of the chlorine, and then they pump it to your house. Now, I ask you this because I honestly want to know how many of y'all really know how much filtration's involved with your water that comes into your house, and how much do you know about how much of the shit that's in your water you absorb into your fucking skin.
Unfiltered tap water, which we will pour in 2 glasses. OTO chemical, test for chlorine, very sensitive for it. 10 drops. Notice it turning yellow, the evidence of chlorine. No chlorine in this water. Where did that chemical go? While I was testing this glass over 10 seconds, all that chemistry went into my skin and my hands. The evidence is clear.
You probably don't have a lot of thoughts about it. It's not something that was ever brought up to you, but did you know you absorb more of the chemicals that are in your water into your fucking skin than you do by drinking it? Yeah, you know that 10, 15, 20 minute fucking shower you get every day, or the bath you sit in? You absorb the chemicals that are in your water. And in particular, you absorb the chemicals that were never taken out of your water, right? And this is a kind of a big fucking thing, right? They don't really treat your fucking water the way you think they do. Like, it's not filtered through any super duper process, right? And you would think they would, you know what I'm saying? You legitimately think they would, but they don't. You know what I mean? Like viruses and bacteria and shit, they get killed by the chlorine, right? The heavy particulate gets taken out by the coagulants in the fucking sand. But the chemicals that come in with your water, you know what I'm saying? You know, fucking all the runoff from fucking cattle operations or farming or fucking anything of this nature, it's all still in your fucking water when it comes back out of that fucking plant. And there are things that affect you at a very, very small fucking level.
That all changed a few years ago when a chemical company, the largest chemical company in the world, asked me to use my expertise in studying frog hormones to try to understand if the chemical, their #1 selling product, a weed killer, atrazine, if it interfered with their hormones somehow. Long story short, we examined the African clawed frog in my lab, we exposed them to this chemical atrazine, and we showed things like this. And these are testes, and you don't have to have a PhD or be a frog expert to see that there's a difference between the control and the exposed animals. The control testes, if you look at it under the microscope, is full of sperm soldiers ready to go. The atrazine-treated gonad or testes, the testicular tubules are filled with cellular debris. What's more is if you look at the young developing larvae, you often find sometimes, these are the kidneys, if you're not used to looking at frog gonads, that this is an individual, though, that has testes, then it has more ovaries, then it has another testes, then it has more one pair will get you in enough trouble. This guy, this situation is certainly not typical of amphibians. There are fish that are naturally hermaphrodites, but not amphibians.
Now, this is Tyrone Hayes. Tyrone Hayes is giving a TED Talk in this video, and he's explaining how a chemical called atrazine stood here and turned frogs from fucking males into females and hermaphrodites. And also explains how fucking male frogs all of a sudden now have the fucking ability to fucking have fucking female baby or have babies and shit. It's an odd thing to have happen with just one fucking chemical. Now, you might ask, how does a man, alright, and who's a college professor, come to start testing fucking chemicals? Well, when fucking chemical companies need to know what the side effects and adverse fucking effects of their fucking thing, of their fucking product is, they stand here and they give it to a fucking college, and the college will stand here and test it for them for a fee, and the fee is usually used in the college to be able to continue to do other educational research and things of this fucking nature. Believe it or not, all of our seeds and all the things that we used to use to grow fucking crops came out of fucking colleges. If you wanted to buy seeds back in the day, you bought them from a fucking college. And this is half the way we used to fund most of the fucking scientific research inside of a fucking college.
To show that some of these animals grow up, even though they're genetic males, to become completely functioning reproductive females. I showed this to the Environmental Protection Agency because I thought they'd be interested. After all, it's the #1 selling chemical in the world at the time. And they said, well, that's not really an adverse effect that would stimulate us to reassess the chemical.
Well, the U.S. water supply is pretty much fully tainted with this fucking chemical atrazine. The EPA sets its fucking limit at 3 parts per billion. But there's parts of the U.S. and fucking Kansas and Ohio, for instance, that have peak levels during the year at 32 parts per billion. At 1 part per billion, you end up with fucking a lifetime exposure chances of your fucking cancer rising by 30%. Now, this chemical is highly fucking dangerous, all right? And I'm gonna say something super controversial here, so everybody get fucking prepared, okay? All you fucking little YouTube heroes, here we go. If you're poisoned at fucking birth, okay? If you're poisoned while you're in your mom's womb, because everybody thinks about the amount of fucking liquid you put into your body through your mouth. You never think about the amount of fucking poison you put onto your goddamn body while you're washing your ass. Alright? This here changes things, okay? And if your mom stood here and was fucking showering and pregnant during that fucking period, you're gonna end up with a whole bunch of fucking dudes and females whose fucking, emotional systems aren't working the way they're supposed to. All of your fucking hormones is going to be completely fucked up, and you're not going to know what the situation is and what you're supposed to be. Do you want to know why there's so many trans motherfuckers? Well, here we go. This is the fucking reason why, okay? This is what's going on with the fucking explosion. Yeah, it is some virtue signaling. Yeah, it is some bullshit, but truth to the matter is, okay? There's a reason why Americans are becoming more and more fucking hairless by the goddamn year. This is why, right the fuck here. Now, I'm going to show you some more fucking information. I hope that you're still with me on the other side.
Your testes, you should make testosterone. Testosterone's a portmanteau. I learned that word at age 49. So when you put 2 words together like smoke and fog, you get smog. twist and jerk, you get twerk. Testosterone means testicular hormone. It's literally the male hormone. But we hypothesized that this atrazine turned on an enzyme aromatase that caused the testosterone to be converted to estrogen. And if you're a male, that means that you're using up your testosterone so you don't make sperm, but it also means that you're making the female hormone when you shouldn't be. That if you look at men in Columbia, Missouri, and compare the atrazine in their urine, men who have atrazine in their urine have a low sperm count and can't get their wives pregnant. And by the way, this is the same amount of atrazine, 0.1 parts per billion, that we were using to chemically castrate and feminize our frogs.
Things starting to become clear for you. All that bullshit, you know what I'm saying, you've been fed over the past few years about turning the fucking frogs gay. Fucking nonsense, okay? What you have to understand is that there's people out here motherfucking poisoning the general motherfucking public. This is why the fuck I'm not a fucking true, you know what I mean, anarcho fucking libertarian. Okay, I'm not an anarcho-capitalist for this fucking reason, because I know for sure there's evil fucking businessmen who do terrible shit all the goddamn time.
Breast cancer. So the same company that gave us 80 million pounds of this contaminant associated with breast cancer was also selling a chemical that does the opposite to treat breast cancer. Because we all start out as aquatic in the amniotic fluid. And these chemicals that I study in my tadpoles can cross the placenta. In fact, we now know that your children will be exposed to over 300 synthetic chemicals before they leave the womb. And most of them, we have no idea what the biological impact is. For atrazine, we do know from rats, which are a proxy for us, that if you give rats atrazine, an EPA lab showed those rats are more likely to have an abortion. Of those rats that don't have an abortion, the sons are born with prostate disease. Of those rats that don't abort, the daughters are born with impaired memory development such that when they grow up, their offspring experience retarded growth and development. And it was these studies that moved me to most, that made me realize I can't just be a little boy who likes frogs. Because see that rat on the bottom? That rat on the bottom never saw atrazine. The rat on the bottom was affected by atrazine that its grandmother was exposed to.
Does it still sound like some fucking crazy conspiracy theory shit? Does it still sound like motherfuckers is wearing tinfoil fucking hats? Is this some shit maybe, just fucking maybe, people should take fucking seriously and have a real goddamn conversation about? It's Tom Pease. Get it the fuck done. Peace.